Like and subscribe as if you were hiding behind a gargoyle tree right now and you had to like and subscribe in order for them to not see you hiding comfortably behind your gargoyle tree. Serious. Charlie Kirk, for those of you who have been living as vagabonds in the mountains somewhere until now, the Turning Point USA founder and one of Israel's loudest American allies, was assassinated on September 10, 2025, during a campus event. Just days before his death, he had urged Netanyahu to strengthen in Israel's media effort, believing better PR could counter the global hostility. Good intentions, wrong diagnosis. You see, because Israel's problem isn't weak messaging. It's the very idea of Hasbara itself. Hasbara doesn't persuade. It doesn't protect. Hasbara humiliates. Humiliates the one doing Hasbara, as a matter of fact. Humiliates the body of Israel itself, unfortunately. It is time to end it entirely. Israel's Western allies think the issue is messaging. Israelis, especially Mizrahim, know the issue is posture. You don't survive in the Middle East by explaining yourself. You survive by projecting strength, certainty, and boundaries. This is why Mizrahim recoil from Hasbara long before they can articulate the theory. They hear Israel explaining itself to people who already hate it and feel the humiliation in their bones. Take Tal the Traveling Clat, a straightforward, sharp-eyed Mizrahi creator. I cannot possibly stress enough that you should check out his channel, as soon as you're done listening to this, as a matter of fact. There's a link to his channel right here in the description. He openly hates Hasbara. He can't give you the full psychological framework, but he doesn't need to. His instincts are correct. In this region, explanation equals weakness. Weakness invites attack. And attack invites escalation. It's not philosophy, but survival. Mizrahim understand the cultural code that Western conservatives don't. You don't explain to enemies. You don't justify your existence. You don't plead your morality. You don't answer lies as if they deserve respect. You speak clearly, act decisively, and let the facts stand without apology. Hasbara gets all of this backwards, which is why it fails. Here's the part Western observers never grasp. Hasbara doesn't just fail. It feeds the very dynamic it tries to fight. Antisemitism is not a misunderstanding. Here we arrive at the Hasbara paradox. The contradiction is so clean, it is almost funny. Hasbara loves repeating the tired slogan, anti-Zionism is anti-Semitism, but in practice, it treats anti-Zionism as if it's a misunderstanding. If anti-Zionism is anti-Semitism, and I strongly believe it is, then any Hasbara effort built on the premise, anti-Zionists just do not have enough information, poor things. If we explain more charts, context, and UN resolution, they will understand, is not only useless, clueless, but contradictory and morally incoherent. Hasbara needs to recognize a simple truth. If somebody hates you because you exist, explaining your existence is not a strategy, it's submission. Hasbara must start treating anti-Semitism for what it actually is. A psychological script enforced by ancient archetypes. As of now, the only thing Hasbara succeeds in doing is making the Jew deranged very happy. Anti-Semites don't listen to Hasbara efforts. They enjoy it. They love the image of the accused explaining himself to the mob, like you're the defendant in their courtroom, their judge, jury, and executioner. They savor the psychological tableau of the moral figure apologizing to the rebellious child. It gives them a deep private sense of satisfaction. It affirms the fantasy of Jews as morally subordinate. This is the psychological trap that Hasbara keeps walking into, because it refuses to confront the obvious. The more you explain, the more anti-Semites feel entitled to judge you. Every explanation, every chart, every desperate attempt to set the record straight tells the anti-Semite, you have the moral right and authority to interrogate us. They love it. And that dynamic explains their entire modus operandi, forcing you back into a humiliatingly defensive position again and again and again. So, if Hasbara is a dead road, what replaces it? Not silence or retreat, certainly not emotional pleading. Instead, 1. State the truth plainly, without defense or apology. A true sovereign nation does not explain its right to defend itself. Speak like every other power. This is what happened, this is what we're doing, this is why. Full stop. No emotional hostage taking, no pathetic begging for understanding, just reality stated with authority. Reverse the frame. Number 2. Make the accuser answer. Stop responding to absurd allegations and turn it around. Why do you excuse terrorism? Why do you deny Jewish history? Why do you infantilize Palestinians? Why do you treat Jews as guilty by default? Bullies collapse when forced to explain themselves. Number 3. Force moral agency back onto the actors. Replace the Western infantilization of Palestinians, they're radicalized by trauma, with they choose violence because their ideology rewards it. No more moral special exceptions. 4. Let supporters fight the narrative, not the state. Machiavelli was right. Never defend yourself. Let others do that. Israel shouldn't argue. Israel shouldn't justify. Israel shouldn't debate. Let allies, intellectuals, historians, and creators carry that fight. A sovereign stands silent while others speak for it. 5. Communicate through decisive action. In the Middle East, words mean little. Actions define reality. Every hostage rescue, every precise strike, every dismantled terror cell sends a message far louder than any press release. Strength speaks, weakness explains. Israel does not need permission to exist. Israel does not owe explanations to people committed to hating it. Israel does not need to justify saving its children. A sovereign nation does not practice Hasbara. A sovereign nation practices clarity and strength. The West expects Jews to explain themselves. The Middle East respects those who don't. Time Israel behave like what it already is. A strong state, not a defendant. A sovereign, not a supplicant. A father, not a child. No more explanations, no more apologies, no more Hasbara, just truth, stated plainly and allowed to stand on its own feet. Am Israel Hai.
And you don't get respect by asking for it. Right. The great Jews of this or any other time created, Zev Jabotinsky, read a poem by the great Hebrew national poet Bialik. And Bialik wrote a poem of anger and a poem of shame. But his anger and his shame were not directed at the people who had slaughtered the Jews. The anger and the shame was directed at the Jews themselves, who hid under beds and under couches as their children and their parents and their wives were slaughtered. And Bialik wrote in one classic line, "These are the sons of the Maccabees." And Jabotinsky vowed to begin the creation not of a new Jew, but of the old Jew. The recreation of the old Jew. Because it's not true that in Israel today there is a new Jew. Hardly. That's the old Jew who once, when there was a Jewish state, while the Arabs were but a gleam in someone's eye, fought with courage, with valor, with strength, and with skill, when there were indeed Jews. What happens when a Jew is hit? There was once a Jew named Moses. And Moses went out to his people and he beheld an Egyptian smiting a Jew. And what did Moses do? Well, he did not go to form a committee to study the root causes of Egyptian anti-Semitism. Vayachet HaMitzri, those 3 sublime words, and he smote the Egyptian. We used to do it then too. Hadar, Jewish pride.